Twins of Reddit, what's your embarrassing story involving your twins partner? My husband has an identical twin. When my husband and I got engagement photos done, Facebook automatically tagged my husband's brother in a bunch of our photos. And I posted them without realizing. I went to a funeral of a friend's father. I had no idea that the deceased had an identical twin. It felt really strange to see the guy in the coffin sat at the front row of the church. Was going down an escalator at a casino. Look across and see my brother. Get the excites and yell, "Hey bro." Start waving for his attention. Was waving to myself in a mirror. My girlfriend told me about a production of Twelfth Night that was able cast identical twins for the main role. At one point one of them walked off one side of the stage and the other walked on from the opposite side in a different costume seconds later. Most of the audience just thought they were doing really fast quick changes. In the version they used for the DVD, a guy in the audience near the camera very loudly said, "What the duck?" when this happened. I'm not a twin, but dated one of two twin brothers in high school. The other twin also had a girlfriend at the school. One day, someone in my class pulls me aside to nervously tell me he thinks my boyfriend is cheating on me. He was fairly new at the school and didn't know yet there were twins. Gave us all a good laugh when the story got around and the guy was pretty relieved to hear there was no cheating going on. Okay, but shout out to that guy for seeing what he thought was a bad situation and taking immediate action on it. My identical twin brother, my wife, and myself all went to school together and got jobs at the same place after passing boards. Since there are some rules regarding family working together, I was not hired to the same unit as my wife, but my twin was. It was a lot of fun, taking lunches together, etc. But there was one social worker who just couldn't grasp that my brother and wife were not the married ones. She'd compliment me on how cute they were together, comment on social media how great a couple they were, even talk about how much my kids take after their dad, referring to him. It's all benign and we laugh about it, but she really laid it on thick. I got pranked by my girlfriend, an identical twin, a few months ago. There is no point where a guy is more vulnerable than immediately after orgasm. Everything is just drained. Knowing this, my girlfriend awaited this moment one morning. Immediately after I finished, she looked up at me, took a deep sigh, and said, "Don't tell," her name, while mimicking her sister's mannerisms. I freaked the duck out, pulled my receding member out, and flipped out of the bed in what I can only describe as an emotional clusterfuck. It was only as I came to my senses that I noticed my girlfriend giggling helplessly. It was then that I knew that I am dating the evil twin. My twin brother died in a car wreck and my family suggested that I should date his girlfriend because grief, I guess. Real duck and awkward. I tried to date this girl from class and we were going out on dates and everything, but out of nowhere she stopped talking to me because her friends saw me with another girl, my twin sister, at the movies and thought I was playing her, but they didn't know I have a twin sister. My ex was once scrolling through FB and said, "You look really hot in this photo." It wasn't me. This is actually my friend's story. Semicolon. She went to see a play at a university with her identical twin. His sister said that there was a shortcut to the theater by cutting through some class building. My friend didn't think that made sense, but her sister seemed confident about it, so she followed along. Then suddenly her sister opens a classroom door and says, "Let's go in here." Semicolon. My friend goes inside and freaks out when she sees a bunch of paintings of what looks like herself, completely naked. Semicolon. It turns out her sister had posed nude for an art class and thought that would be a fun surprise. I've told this story before, but it's even more fitting here. My identical twin sister was dating the president of a fraternity on campus. And during one of the frat's date night events she went with her BF and I was set up as a date for one of his brothers. Towards the end of the night I got separated from my date. And my sister's extremely drunk boyfriend put his arm around me while sis was in the bathroom. BF leaned in to kiss me. Venue was super dark, so I think it was an honest mistake. So I backed up to set the record straight. He asked if I was down for a threesome with my own twin sister. I still feel bad for ditching my date, but shudders I had to get out of her ASAP. You. Dad's friend is a twin. Lives in Chicago. His twin brother lives in Boston. On the same day, both twins fell off a ladder and broke the same leg. There was a ducked up story about the twins in my country. 2 baby girls were swapped in hospital, and one twin came back home with other family. Their daughter stayed with her twin sister. Girls were completely different, but the family thought they are just not identical twins. They found out the truth when all 3 girls were in high schools. The real twins were constantly called differently and strangers would approach them and say hi. They lived in a relatively small town. So finally some common friends organized their meeting. Although they look identical, they are completely different people. Egg. One of them likes metal music and wears black clothes. The story didn't end up well. Although they sued the hospital, both families are devastated by the whole story. Not embarrassing, but my twin sister is dating a guy that friend-zoned me. Edit, I'll add some context. I really liked this one guy. Super nice and funny and smart, and he was pretty cute too. I confess that I liked him and got friend-zoned. It's done and he stopped talking to me after that, which totally sucked. A month later or so my sister told me about the same guy and how they both liked each other. I was pretty sad about it. Not gonna lie. But they've been dating for almost 3 months now and they're a cute couple. It does sting when she tells me how great they're doing and how he is always at our house. But she's happy, so it's okay. Edit, the 7th of October 2020. They broke up because he cheated on her with her friend. At least he isn't going just for the looks. I was with my twin brother at the supermarket this one time. And judging from this story I'm guessing that obviously we look the same from the back. But not exactly the front because I'm a female. My brother's girlfriend was shopping at the same store as us that day and comes up behind me and smacks my bottom saying hey love. Jokingly I turn around and say it back. The look on her face made me regret what I did. My twin brother is gay, so early in high school before people knew he had a twin I was groped by a gay man. This story is so prime and I'm so excited to tell it. I used to do musicals. Like singing, dancing musicals. My brother came to a performance and was at the greeting line afterwards. He goes up to the lead actress in the show and says great job. Congrats. What a show, to which she responds oh I wasn't in the show, actually it was my twin sister. But you were fantastic, to which my twin brother says I wasn't in the show either. And that's when the actual lead actress and I walk up wondering why they both look so damn confused. I've been laughing about it for years. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Now I can say I've gotten an award for answering wrongly after misreading a prompt, haha. Gold. Edit. Whoa, gold. For the occasion I can admit, the lead actress and I were having a secret affair. My mom is an identical twin. She and her sister were always dressed alike and hated it, so one year for Halloween my grandpa took my mom costume shopping and my grandma took my aunt. When they got home they were so excited to show each other their costumes. But when they came out of their room they were wearing the same thing. My twin and I went shopping for eyeglasses. We were in a store that had multiple massive rooms filled with different brands of eyeglasses. We spent roughly 3 hours picking our ideal frames, independently of each other. We sit down to pay and the teller says oh that's so awesome, you chose the same pair, and sure enough, it was an identical model. One in white, one in silver, out of thousands of lenses. My grandma and her sister were twins. Her sister was going to be a nun so couldn't be involved in any affairs. Some guy asked the sister out, who sent my grandma in her place. Tasked with ending the date poorly. I'd like to say there's a funny ending that the guy is my granddad. But he's not. He's just some random dude. So your grandma's sister was a sister who sent her sister out with a mister who never kissed her. Not a twin. But I had a pair of teachers at my middle school who were identical twins. They tended to dress similarly and I spent a lot of time confused as to how they could move around the school so quickly until someone told me there were two of them. And that they were twins. This was right before one of them got pregnant though. Not a twin. Dated a twin on and off for a while. In middle school. I would get a call from my boyfriend. We chat for a bit and then he'd have to go so his brother could have his phone time. These were the days before cell phones. Then we'd hang up and I'd get another phone call a minute later. From my boyfriend. Turns out the first call was from his twin brother. Boyfriend would get pissed. He tried that a few more times. Then I learned to tell their voices apart. Edit. Thanks for my first silver. I fancied a twin in high school and couldn't realize why in one class she spoke to me yet in another didn't know what the duck I was on about. It took me 4 months and just bumping into them both on the walk home and I literally went, there's two of you. One of my good friends in college. We'll call her Ellie. Has a twin sister. We'll call her sister. Sister had a boyfriend while Ellie was blissfully single. We were all over at sister's place making dinner together and having some beers. Ellie went to grab something out of the fridge. So her back was to the room. Sister's boyfriend walked by. Gave her a casual but firm butt grab and went on his way to the counter to IDK. Chop something. Ellie gasped and turned around. The room stopped. We all just stared and waited for boyfriend to notice he'd grabbed the wrong twin. You could see the exact moment he realized sister, his girlfriend, was not. In fact, at the refrigerator. She was on the other side of the room. He slowly looked back down at the cutting board. He couldn't even process the shame. He apologized profusely. Ellie was horrified for a second but after she realized it was an honest mistake, she thought it was funny. He literally could not make eye contact with her for a week. Edit. My grandpa has a twin brother. And they look nearly identical even now in their late 70s. My mom told me that when I was a toddler we were at a family reunion. Apparently my grandpa was holding me and talking to my parents and then his twin brother walked up to us and my reaction was to say, stunned and wide-eyed, two grandpas. I must have been really happy to have not one, but two amazing grandpas to interact with. Edit. While we wait for serious replies. How many sets of twins did you guys have at your school? In elementary school, there were 3 sets of twins and 1 set of triplets in my grade. Pretty insane. Edit. I'm not the twin. But I was dating a guy on and off for years, long distance, and eventually came to find out that the guy I had been on and off dating was ducking his twin brother and his twin brother's wife. I couldn't believe it at first. But then a whole lot of things started to make sense. The more I thought about it. I'd been friends with him a solid 15 years. And in that whole time he never really dated anyone but me. But he spent so much time with his twin brother and even more with his twin brother's wife. We're no longer dating. Eventually came to find out that the guy I had been on and off dating was ducking his twin brother and his twin brother's wife. He was ducking his twin brother? I dated an identical twin back in high school. Her sister had recently broken up with her boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend and his mom were walking through the park and saw my girlfriend and I kissing. Without the slightest display of emotion. She turns to her son and says, so that's why she left you. Basically all of these stories are about identical twins. I'm a guy who has a twin sister and we don't look anything alike. I'm a dead ringer for the guys in my mom's family and both my twin and little sister favor my dad's family. On top of the obvious low effort lol you duck her twin bullshit, it really has only been a positive for me. I'm pretty awkward and having someone to always talk to and someone around to give me an excuse to start talking to girls etc was always a big plus. We made our own language when we were little and have so many memories. I work with identical twins who are entirely non-verbal. With an identical diagnosis. And have almost identical names. similar to Aubrey and Audriana in closeness. This is my 4th year with them. I still don't know which is which. I usually just say both names when I'm telling a story and say I don't know which one it was. Slightly off topic. I knew some identical twins who were both in the trades. One a plumber and the other an electrician. Once in a while they'd end up on the same job site. They would steal each other's work shirts. Wait for a foreman to tell one of them to complete a task. Then duck you I'm not doing that and walk away. Loved working with those two. They were a good time. Not really a partner story. And also not a twin. But something funny that happened when I was in high school. In Votech. One of my classmates had an identical twin brother. One day they decided to switch places in their classes and see if their teachers noticed. The second my teacher walked into the room, he looked at the twin and said, "Get out of my class." He stood up and asked how the teacher knew. He said, "I just saw your brother at his locker in the hallway. Plus there was the fact that he didn't sit in the seat his brother usually sat in. And their hairstyles were slightly different. But enough to see a clear difference." My best friend Dan is an identical twin. His brother Jason is in active addiction. He's stolen from anywhere and anyone he possibly can. And has burned all his bridges. It eventually got to the point where Jason essentially stole Dan's identity. He was able to hack into Dan's bank and PayPal accounts, transferring money into his account, and even open up credit cards in Dan's name. Since Dan lived in NJ, and Jason lived in SC at the time, it was hard to get the police to do anything. And the banks weren't of much help either. Saw my identical male twin naked in high school. His wiener is much larger than mine. No homo, but we even compared them once and his was definitely larger. Any other twins have this problem? My penis is much bigger than my identical twin sister's, even though she's a few years older than me. My little brother and sister are twins and both of them have multiple flat spots on their heads, not noticeable through their hair. This is because before they were born they would headbutt each other inside of my mother. He tried to date me and get away with it while dating my sister at the same time. My mom isn't a twin, but she and all 6 of her sisters look identical. Grandma was a photocopier. They also all still live within the same neighborhood where they grew up. Going food shopping with mom was the worst. Not only did you have to stand by and wait as she chit-chatted and caught up with all of her friends, but also all of the other 6 sisters' friends who thought she was one of the others. Afterwards she would call up each sister and catch them up on the conversation so they would know what the person was talking about when they saw them next. When I was a baby my dad was supposed to take my brother to a doctor's office because he was sick and he took me instead. My dad realized that it was me and got my brother to the doctor's. Turns out he just had a cough. My wife went to high school with twin guys who ended up marrying twin sisters. Nice try, PRN producers writers. I'm a twin, fraternal. Have dated an identical twin twice. This first time his twin developed a sixth sense for incoming romantic attention and would hunch his shoulder before whenever I walked up behind him. The other guy claimed he couldn't possibly date just one woman because he had just found out his twin was gay and he needed to make up for it. Yeah. We didn't date after that. Both times our parents thought his was SOOO perfect. My twin brother went out to pick up some wine and his girlfriend, at the time, came over and thought I was him. She was probably really horny, but without hesitating she began to kiss me and it took me by surprise. To the point where I was frozen in shock. I was about to get her off me. But that was when he walked in. I was about to get her off. Nice. Me. Oh. I had a former partner walk up behind my twin sister and pinch her butt. She turned around and he turned bright red, apologized profusely, and ran off. When people would often mistake us for a couple because we don't even look like siblings. The one that stands out the most is when we were volunteering at a nursing home and an old man gave me a quarter while gesturing to my brother and said, "What a cute couple. Go and get yourselves some soda pops." Or maybe just one. After letting him laugh and feel clever for a little bit, we told him, "I don't think I've ever seen a dying man want to die so badly." He let us keep the quarter. Though I'm not a twin, but I knew some in HS. There were these two identical girls who were your kind of typical SLTTY experimental girls. And they revealed to me they would practice making out on each other. Additionally, they shared a boyfriend at some point without telling him they were two separate people. But when he found out, he was real upset because if they were lying about that, then what else was going on behind his back? Then what else was going on behind his back? He got arrested for embezzlement. It's arrested embezzlement. Identical twin here. Let me break it down real quick for ya. No, we don't duck each other's girlfriends. Yes, we could probably get away with it. No psychic powers. Sorry. Yes, we switch places. Sometimes. But we like feeling like we have our own identities. Android eye recognition doesn't work with my twin. Nor does fingerprints. My brother's voice will open my phone though. You get a 3-time get my name wrong grace period, then after that you're kind of a jerk. Stroke. The worst thing that's happened to us is finding out we were raised in a cult. When our parents, everyone we knew and loved, shunned us for realizing it was a load of shit. Having each other is the one thing that saved the both of us over and over again all these years. From the world and ourselves. Leaving a cult is emotional chaos. Having a twin is the best thing that's ever happened to me. He's awesome. And ridiculously handsome. We still hang out almost every day. We're 26 now. I don't really have a twin. I just say, hold on, let me get my twin brother. Then I duck into a nearby room and come back wearing glasses. Oh, the hijinks that would ensue. I have a twin brother. My mother sent us to the same swimming course when we were toddlers but could only afford to pay for one of us, so she pretended we were the same kid. She sent me one day and my brother the other day of the week. The course was 2 days a week. Our swimming coach got so confused because one day a week my brother was an adept swimmer and the other day I needed a swimming ring. My GF slapped my ass on 2 separate occasions, but it was actually my twin's ass. And my twin and I were driving, having a conversation on the car's Bluetooth, but I only said hi. The other 40 minutes of the conversation was my twin. And my GF started getting saucy. My cousin married a twin. Accidentally groped the wrong tushy at their wedding reception in front of both families. No alcohol involved, but there were some tempers and some tears. I don't buy it. Wedding dresses are kind of conspicuous.